Welcome, this is Shakti Carola Navran. So let's try this again. The internet connection got interrupted somehow. So anyway, if you have been following me for a while, you know I'm doing this weekly power forecasts, I'm doing daily forecasts, and I want to discuss with you some changes I have in mind. So first of all, I want to continue the weekly forecast on Saturdays, the one we're going to do today. And that's going to give you kind of a crystallized version where we look at the highlights of the week. Then, if you want to really know what's going on each day, I want you to go to my YouTube channel or my Facebook page or to my Instagram. Instagram is Shakti Carola, YouTube is Shakti Carola Navran, so you can search for me and sign up with me. So then you get a 1 minute kind of overview, inspiration for the day, and I think it's a wonderful way to start the day. Then I'm thinking about doing a monthly preview, and this is where I want to hear your feedback. I'm thinking about going through the months for each sign and to see what's activated for each sign. So this way it gets a little bit more personal, even without you having to come to me and doing a personal forecast reading where we would look into the year and what's really happening for you. So this is kind of a little next step. I want you to really use the power of astrology as much as you can in life, because I am so passionate about it. So I want to spread the bug and want you to help to make better decisions, to lead a life of self-reflection. And astrology is a wonderful path, actually, and to cherish and have that certain perspective of self-inquiry and looking at yourself from a little more neutral perspective. So that I believe can be really helpful. Hi Sheila, good to see you. Well, so this week I want to discuss one major event. The sun is moving into the next sign, into the sign of Aquarius, and that's happening every month. The sun moves on at some point. So the sun astrologically stands for the consciousness, how we filter the world, how we step into the world from our own sense of self, our own sense of identity. So in the heavens, the sun is the center of our solar system. So in us, the sun is the center of our individual self-expression and beliefs around who we think we are. So when you have me heard talking about the wave, the sun relates to the top of the wave. So it's just 5 to 10% of our individual consciousness. But of course, the whole point in growing and doing therapeutic work and learning through astrology, it's all about lowering that line between the 5 to 10% and to become more self-conscious. So I have been doing astrology for 40 years now, so I haven't found a better vehicle to do that. So that's why I'm doing all that. And of course I do individual work with people, I do evolutionary astrology, so I look at the individual birth chart to see what is your highest potential and where are your challenges and what's really your karmic destiny in this lifetime. So that's the promise astrology can hold for us in an individual reading. But here in the more general forecast, it's really a lot about education and teaching you and getting a sense for all the changes we're constantly exposed to. So yeah, that's what I hope you will enjoy. And if you do, please remember to like my video and share it on your page on Facebook, so other people can appreciate it and connect with the work. So, and of course, if you leave me a comment, I will always get back to you, even if it's after the live part of this. Okay, so big event, January 19th is when the sun enters Aquarius. Aquarius is the second to the last sign of one circle of evolution. So it's a sign ruled by Uranus, and it's a sign of the rebel, the revolutionary, the true individual. So Uranus, the ruler, the god of lightning, of evolution and sudden changes, represents the outsider, the part where we feel alienated, where we feel like we not quite belong. So I think right now a lot of people are experiencing that with all the insecurities in the world, that we are not really in control. So there's a sense of alienation and dissociation with the world and people around us. And going back to the metaphor of the wave, it just means we are only identified with the top of our sense of ego identity. And it's a painful place to be. If we only identified with that little of our whole potential of being the whole wave, and ultimately actually being part of the ocean, being part of all that is, God, the divine, ultimate consciousness. So you can imagine if we only identified on the top of the wave, that is painful. So this is where we usually are very attached to our story, and this is where we suffer. And the sun moving into Aquarius will bring that sense of alienation and that sense of not belonging to the forefront of our consciousness. And with that, we are invited to do something about. So when I have an individual chart with a person who has a strong Aquarius, excuse me, then I know this person came in to individualize, to find their own power, their own strength of standing strong in their own journey. And of course, to some extent, we're always impacted and conditioned by our peers and friends and teachers and the others out there. So nevertheless, like I have the moon in Aquarius in the 11th house, so I have to learn to stand strong in my own originality, and I have to learn to feel good about being strange and different. And here I am, an evolutionary astrologer, so I think I'm working with that on a daily basis. So the invitation this month is for all of us, but of course even stronger if you have any planets in Aquarius, is to find like-minded souls. So when I have a personal chart with a strong Aquarian nature, I always point out that to help that kind of disconnect, it helps to find people where we feel like they're kind of moving into the same direction. They're kind of my kind of soul group, my kind of tribe. So actually that's why I really like Facebook, because it's a pretty good way with the interests people have to really create a tribe, a group of similar interests around you. And of course, more closer in your personal life and with real people, you want to do the same. So find people, go where you find people who are similarly wired, who are similarly colorful and weird and wild. So Aquarius for me is really a sign of the wild one, the wild wise woman, the wild old man. So I believe right now we are connecting more deeply with knowing about that, and of course it's kind of in our DNA that historically and still in areas in the world it's really life-threatening to be different, to have different opinions, religious nature, political nature. It's still scary. So we all have a lot of apprehension around being different and not fitting in, because potentially that's life-threatening. So historically, when somebody was shunned, pushed out of the community, people would usually die if they wouldn't be stoned before that. So that's why I think it's still really important for us with an Aquarian nature to have the support of a community, to have the support of a group of people around us, so we don't go into dissociation and that feeling of alienation. So in your chart, we all have Aquarius somewhere, and we all have Uranus telling us more how the Aquarian spirit plays out for us somewhere in the chart, in some sign, in some house, somehow aspected with other planets in the chart. So we all have more or less an invitation to really grow through individuation, because that's what I believe Aquarius is really about, is to individuate, to listen to that inner soul guidance, to follow that inner drummer, to move forward what we know is the right thing for our own soul, for our own growth, no matter what other people say, our parents, our friends. So that's a journey. We have to be very self-honest and even asking those questions, so then we can take the steps into that direction we want to go. So that's happening on the 19th. So friendship is one of the key words for Aquarius, so it helps to have friends. So pay attention in the coming months to who your friends are. Like Tony Robbins said once, you become like your friends. You want to pay attention which people you call your friends and hang out with. So if your friends are all alcoholics or drug addicts and you wouldn't do the same, you wouldn't be friends for long. So we have this pull to kind of fit in, do the same things like the other people in our life. So that's why it really is important to pay attention to which people you surround yourself with. Also, with Aquarius, usually we step into Aquarian qualities later on in life because it becomes easier to be our own weird, colorful self. So the question is, what is your life vision? What is pulling you forward in this lifetime? So it's always a good thing to journal about these really important questions. So I would invite you to brainstorm this month around the Aquarian themes I have been presenting. So where do you feel challenged in your life? Where or how do you connect with your spiritual growth? Because that's really the underlying force of Aquarius. It's really about evolution. It's about stepping to the next level of consciousness. So another question, are you leading a self-reflected life? So a life which isn't really consciously self-reflective is only half lived. So journaling and talking from that level of inquiry with friends around you goes a long way to help you to become more self-aware, for you to grow. And then, of course, you might want to have a look at the fears you have around not belonging or being an outsider. So look at me. I was born in Germany, living here for 20 years. So the moment I open my mouth, people know I'm not originally from here. I might have the white skin, so I don't have that problem, but I'm an outsider. I don't quite belong. And the funny thing is that I don't quite belong here because you still hear the accent and there is something strange going on. But even when I go back to Germany, I have trouble speaking German right. It takes me a few days to adjust. And when I do astrology and I have to do it in German, it's really challenging for me because my brain is not quite moving in that lane. So what I'm getting at is, like, I feel like an outsider here to some extent, and I feel like an outsider there from where I'm culturally coming from. So for me, it's connected with the moon in Aquarius. So I have support because of that to really step into my own, to really not just be a result and an extension of some kind of unconscious conditioning I have received and internalized and then projecting into the world. So that is the reason why Aquarius ultimately is really the sign of freedom, really the sign of what freedom encompasses and means. And that's a question I like you to ask this month. Okay, my dear, ask away with your questions. Remember to like the video, please. Leave me a comment, and make sure you sign up for the YouTube channel Shakti Carola Navran, Shakti Carola on Instagram, Facebook, where you are here. So these are good ways for me, so I can be keeping you in the loop for all the updates I'm doing. And let me know what you think about the idea of doing a monthly preview according to the sun signs. So that would be something to play around with. Okay, my dears, I hope you will have a wonderful week. For the daily updates, go to Instagram and all my other pages. So, and I hope I will see you around. Oh, I forgot the gemstones. Okay, can't do that. Almost lost it here. This is the stone I want to talk about. It's turquoise. So this is an old piece. I think it's from Tibet. And turquoise is a wonderful stone because it's an Aquarius stone. So I wanted to give you something today so you can tap into the Aquarian nature a little deeper. So you can do that by putting the gemstone on your third eye, in this case on your throat chakra, because it belongs to the throat chakra. So these are always the association with the gemstone with the chakra or the third eye are always good stones to put them onto you when you lay down and meditate with them. And the wonderful thing when you meditate with gemstones, because they have such a perfect frequency, because of their crystal structure, and they're bringing that highest light frequency into the physical. So it's a wonderful way to instantly shift our bodily frequency, our own alignment. So that's why it's so powerful to meditate with gemstones. And we Westerners generally have a challenge around just sitting still, because then our monkey mind goes crazy. So with the gemstones, it's easier. You just shift your energy by putting the gemstone in the right place. So turquoise is one of the strongest Aquarian gemstones, helping us to bring that weird inspirational dimension into a concrete expression into our life, and really help us to find that individual expression. So that's a connection with the throat chakra, finding your voice, finding your individual voice and strengths and self-expression. So yeah, that's why I like you to play around with the turquoise this week. So let me know how that goes for you, and I will see you soon. Aloha, as we say here in Maui, and namaste. All the best to you. Enjoy your week. Bye.